Hello, everyone, and welcome to an episode of the Caffeinated Librarians, MPL's pop culture podcast. I'm Simona.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Joe, off screen this episode.
So we're continuing with our Legends, Myth, and Folklore series, and we're going to be discussing Corpse Bride. So, and this is when I say if you haven't yet watched Corpse Bride, or if you're currently watching it and haven't finished, come back and join the conversation at a later date. And as always, remember to like, subscribe. Okay. So,
if you're currently watching this 77-minute film, maybe finish it up.
Yeah.
All right. So, as I mentioned, we're going to be discussing the 2005 Gothic stop-motion animated fantasy film Corpse Bride, and it's directed by Mike Johnson and Tim Burton, and the music is composed by Danny Elfman. And Corpse Bride stars the voice talents of Johnny Depp, Helena Bonham Carter, Emily Watson, Joanna Lumley, Albert Finney, Richard E. Grant, and the late Christopher Lee.
Shout out Richard E. Grant.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, this story is actually based on a Jewish folktale called The Finger. And much like in this film, a young man and his three friends go wandering in the woods at night. One of the young men is engaged, and they decide, I guess, to just stroll through the woods one night. As they're wandering the woods, he sees a branch that looks like a finger, decides to stick his wedding band on the finger. He recites sacred vows, thinks nothing of it. However, the finger belongs to the corpse of this bride who passed away before she could actually get married. She emerges from the earth and proclaims him her groom. He and his friends, terrified, book it out of the woods and decide nothing happened. He proceeds with his marriage, and the corpse bride shows up in the temple and says that he is already married and that he has said the sacred vows. The rabbi says, "Is this true?" The young man says yes. Says, "Did you say it 3 times?" The young man says yes. And unfortunately, the rabbi says, "Well, nothing I can do. You are now married to a corpse." He doesn't, of course, stay married to the corpse. In the end, he marries the woman of his choosing, and the corpse bride sort of passes on to the afterlife. And in this film, it's very much the same premise. So we have Victor Van Dort, who is voiced by Johnny Depp, and he and his family are part of the Nouveau Riche, and they are looking to move up in the world. So they arrange for him to be married to Victoria Everglot, and I love that their names are Victor and Victoria. It's just so cute. Because they are, quote-unquote, wealthy. They're not.
They are an embarrassed aristocratic family.
Yes. They shudder at having to marry their daughter to the Nouveau Riche, but unfortunately, beggars cannot be choosers. And it is her marriage to Victor which will save them from the poorhouse. Victor is a very special person. He's a gentle soul. He's extremely awkward. Granted, if you see his parents, you'll understand why he is the way he is. They're not the best of people, but I guess they mean well.
All of the parents are terrible in this.
Yes, they're awful. So they finally meet. They have a little moment together. It's interrupted because it is quite scandalous that they're sitting alone together, and they shouldn't be doing that because they're not married yet. They go to the practice wedding ceremony.
Dress rehearsal.
The dress rehearsal. Yes, it is. Thank you.
Rehearsal
it's the dress
dinner.
Yes. Rehearsal for a glorious wedding. And of course, Victor, being nervous, can't say his vows correctly. He really upsets the priest, played by the late Christopher Lee. He's genius. I love the priest. He's about done with everyone in that room. The dress rehearsal is interrupted by the appearance of a dashing young fellow named Barkis Bittern.
Young?
Yeah, he's not young.
Youngish fellow.
I would say middle-aged.
His hair's white.
Yeah. I'd say
Technically,
he's not
it's
young.
color graded. Fine,
No.
whatever. A middle-aged man just appears out of nowhere saying apparently he's late for the ceremony. Victoria's parents, being who they are, don't know if he's related, not related, but they say, who cares? He looks wealthy.
He's like, I'm rich.
Yeah.
So his name is Lord Barkis. I just love that so much.
Barkis.
Yeah, so the dress rehearsal goes poorly. Victor runs away. The whole town knows about it. I love the town crier. Shout out to that town crier.
Yeah,
on
I
top
really
of it.
loved when they brought him in to give him the headline. He's just screaming it.
Yeah.
That was a good gag.
Yeah, I love him. I love the town crier. So Victor leaves, and much in the original tale, he goes into the woods, and he bemoans the fact that, while he is attracted to Victoria, he doesn't necessarily know if they are meant to be together, if he is right for her. But he's struck by some divine inspiration, says his vows perfectly, and puts his ring on a branch. The finger, as in the tale, comes to life, and from the ground emerges this corpse bride who is more than happy to accept his vows, and she says, "I do." Victor's terrified, runs away, hits a few trees, trips over some gravestones. It's hysterical. And he thinks he's escaped.
And then we get probably the best scene in the movie. The first scene where color really comes into this because it's very dark blue, gray, blacks. That's sort of the color scheme. And then he ends up in the underworld.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the skeleton world is just filled with like beautiful green and like purple and bright blues, just great colors.
Yeah, it's very vibrant. What I love how is that in the world of the living, the colors are very muted.
Yeah.
The people almost look washed out. Whereas, as Joe said, in the afterlife, it's vibrant. It's full of life, full of color. And so his bride has taken her groom to the underworld. Everyone is overjoyed to see him. They don't realize that he's not dead initially. He's as confused as they are. Like, why am I here? What is going on? Have I dreamt this? And he realizes, no, I'm stuck here. But everyone is thrilled to meet him. And, he tells his bride, how can we be married? I don't even know your name or who you are. I don't even know your story.
Yeah.
And Emily says it's kind of a long story. And that's when we get one of the first musical numbers of this film, which I love this song
this
so
is the
much.
second to four.
Yeah.
Remains of the Day, so good. It's like a great jazzy number with Danny Elfman as a skeleton.
Yes, and basically the skeleton, who has a name in the story, but I remember what it is.
Bojangles.
Thank you so much. Love that. Decides to tell the corpse bride's story. And much like in the original tale, where she was someone who was promised to be wed, but died under tragic circumstances before she could get married, the corpse bride has the very same story. So she was a young woman of good family. It's not necessarily stated if she was very wealthy or if she's like Victor, like new money. She met this dashing gentleman. They courted for a little bit. He convinced her to give him everything and promised to wed her and make her happy. That did not happen.
Nope.
He murders her and he buries her. So she dies without having fulfilled her desire of being a bride. And here comes Victor.
Oh boy.
And she's overjoyed because now she finally gets to be a bride. Victor, while sympathetic to the corpse bride's plight, and he also learns her name is Emily, says, as much as I can sympathize with you and I do feel sorry, like, I have a life up there. And he doesn't mention yet that he has a girl waiting for him. But, of course, everyone in the afterlife is like, why do you care about the world of the living?
Yeah,
everyone's dying, Yeah, his dog, so cute. I mean, yes, he's hairless, but he's still there. And it's like, it's full of life, it's vibrant, and it's like, why would you want to go back upstairs? But Emily, being who she is, wants to make Victor happy. So she says, you know what, let's pop on up, let's pay a visit. But they go to, I'm going to call it the library. I don't know if that's what it is, but I like to believe that the underworld would have a library. So
Your underworld would have a library.
Yes. So they go to Elder Gutnicht. I'm going to just call him Elder. And he's voiced by Michael Gow, or is it Go?
Really go.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
He rocked, though.
Yes, I love that character. There's so many great characters. And they explain their situation.
Oh,
And-
it's Goaf, actually.
Goaf? Oh, okay. Michael Goaf. So they explain their situation to the Elder. And he basically says, it's a little unconventional. It hasn't really been done, but, Emily charms him, and the elder really wants to make her happy. He does this fancy kind of spell, and he says, if you ever want to, like, as soon as you want to come back home, just say, what is the word? Do you remember the magic word?
I don't.
Hopscotch. Haha.
There you go.
So happy with myself. So basically, it says, the magic word is hopscotch. Whenever you want to come back, just say that word and you'll be right back. Victor is overjoyed. He's like, yes, I am back up. He's deceitful, but at the same time, you get it. He doesn't want to be in the underworld.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't play my full cards dealing with like a bunch of skeletons either.
Yeah.
I don't know what their deal is.
Yeah, I mean, they do seem like lovely people, but, he has things to do. So he deceives her by stating, stay here, I'm just going to go talk to my parents, and I will be right back. And Emily trusts him. So he
probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, but he goes to see Victoria, and he tries to explain his situation. But frankly, if my fiance said, I married a corpse, and now I'm stuck in the underworld, I don't know how I would take it.
You probably wouldn't be listening.
No, but he says that he does care for her, and that in spite of the situation, he still intends to marry her. Emily, being a little impatient, decides to follow him, and that's when she sees, oh my God, he's with another woman. And Emily's not having that, and she says the magic words, and he's ripped from Victoria and brought back to the underworld. Now, Victoria does try to talk to her parents, but they don't really care. Time's a-ticking, and they're poor. So they decide, we're going to marry you off to Lord Barkis, because he has money, and that's all that matters.
He's definitely legit.
Yeah.
He wouldn't lie about anything, this guy we just met.
Villain.
He is the slimiest of slimy characters in this film, but I love him at the same time, because he knows what he is, and he doesn't really... Well, so he sort of pretends, but at the same time, anyway. So they're going to marry her off to Lord Barkis. Victor's back in the underworld. Emily's betrayed, and that's when they have like the moment where I didn't betray you. I never intended to marry you, and I have another woman up there. But Emily rightfully says, but I don't care about that other woman. You married me. You said the vows, and that's when he says, not meaning to hurt her, but he does that. Why would he ever marry her? And considering her background of being a jilted bride, it hits her very hard.
Yeah, but she also comes across as being very strong and not listening to Victor, and also like obsessive to the point where that's not healthy behavior.
It isn't, and I think a part of Emily realizes that is the case, but at the same time, she was murdered.
Yeah, no, she's been stuck here for a while. I'm like, all right.
So you cling to the first person who puts a ring on you with
Yes.
no intention? Okay.
Yes.
That happens to living people.
It does.
Yes, it does. But
So that's when we have another one of the lovelier songs in the film where Emily basically bemoans her plight and I forgot to mention, she's not alone. She has a maggot who resides in her skull. And he's like her Jiminy Cricket, but he doesn't necessarily give the best advice.
her conscience?
Yeah, but everyone is trying to hype her up and saying that, you're beautiful. What does that other woman have that you don't have? And it's basically their like hype song for Emily. They're being good friends. And eventually like Emily, I think, does realize, okay, this may not work, maybe I can't hold on to him the way I think I can. And things sort of progress to a certain point. Victor does learn that Victoria is engaged because his coach, in a rather hilarious scene, not the fact that he's dead is hilarious, but like he has like this huge coughing fit and I guess he gets a heart attack and dies. And he comes down, he's like, oh, Mayu. It's like, why are you here? Then Mayu turns and like, oh, I'm so sorry. But he learns from Mayu that Victoria has been engaged. And Victor is horrified. He's like, why? And Mayu goes, I don't know. I guess they didn't want to waste the cake. He's trying to be sympathetic, but at this point, he's moved on.
He's dead. He's got other problems.
So that's when Victor decides, you know what? If I can't marry the woman I love, no, I gotta rephrase this. If I
So
can't
he's
marry,
gonna settle for Emily, who's a corpse.
I'm gonna rephrase it. So he basically decides to marry her after overhearing. So Emily's talking with the elder, and essentially because Victor married her when she was dead, because he mentions the vows, like till death do us part. That's not the exact vow, but basically it's think of it like you're married till death do us part. And he tells Emily, well, your marriage is invalid because death has already parted. So, Victor, you have no claim to Victor. And at that point, Emily is going to allow Victor, okay, like, I can't lay this claim to him. I'm going to allow him to go back to the world above. But Victor, realizing I'm never going to have Victoria, and I think a part of him has begun to care for Emily, says, you know what, I will marry you. Now, the only way he can marry her is that he has to die. And then once he dies, the marriage is valid. So he decides that's a great plan. And the underworld is happy, and Victor says, we're going to go to the world above to hold this wedding. And everyone's overjoyed. It's like, yay, we're going to go upstairs. It's a really funny moment.
I do really like when they interact with all of their living relatives.
Yeah.
I know.
The one
so
with
sweet.
with the old woman beating her skeleton husband. With
Oh,
like a cane,
yeah.
And he's like, it's me.
It's like,
oh,
like the Red Butler character.
Yeah.
He goes, Gertrude. And she goes, I love that. So they all go up and they're about to enter the church. And of course, Christopher Lee, in a moment of, love that character, says, back ye demons from hell. And one of the people says, shh, we're in a church. And he just drops his staff. It's so funny. I just love it. So they're going to have the ceremony. At this point, I forgot to mention that Victoria has found out that Barkis is poor. Barkis has found out that Victoria is poor. But at this point, they're married. So Victoria goes, haha, I guess you're stuck with me. Barkis, being Barkis, is like, I will not take this. So Victoria leaves, and she sees the procession of corpses, and she's like, that seems interesting. Why not?
Yeah, it's
Weirder
always
things
what-
have happened.
Yeah.
And she goes in the church, and she sees Victor. And also, she is not going to interfere either. I mean, at this point, also, she's married, so even if she wanted to, she can't. Lord Barkis also shows up, and that's when, dun, 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 what do we learn?
Oh, he's the villain.
But more than that, like, what do we learn?
He killed Emily.
He is the man that jilted the corpse bride
He
and
killed
murdered
her.
Yes.
I think killing her is more important than the jilting part of it.
But both
Yeah.
are like, killing definitely was like the last straw, but he not only jilted her, stole her money, he killed her, and he left her
Yeah.
in an unmarked grave.
And then there's a big old sword fight. Emily kind of puts a stop to it because if she gets stabbed, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I just love how like everyone like there's like the Napoleonic-esque character
Yeah.
in there
Yeah,
that like
Napoleon
has the
bones
sword.
apart.
Yeah, and then he has like
Bones
his
apart.
his taller companion that actually has the sword in him, right? And right?
I don't remember.
Someone has a perpetual sword, which to me kind of sucks if you have to be in the act with a perpetual sword, but I guess no one really cares. But yeah, a fight ensues, and that's when Barkis basically says, ha ha ha, yes, I am the one. And he's not concerned about pissing off a bunch of skeletons and ghosts because he thinks you can't hurt me. But little does he know that the wine on the table is poison. So he drinks it, and all the ghosts are just like, haha, wait for it.
I know. That's the best.
Love this. And he dies in rather dramatic fashion. And all of a sudden the ghost play goes like, what did they say? Oh, new arrival. And like they pull him in, and then like there's like maniacal laughter, and he starts screaming. And I love the scream, the way the voice actor Grant does the screaming. It's hysterical. And they basically mete out justice. And at this point, Emily has realized, I had my chance to be a bride, but I'm not going to rob another woman of that chance. And she gives her blessing for Victor and Victoria to marry. And in one of the more beautiful moments of the film, she's finally freed.
Yeah.
And she transforms into all these
Yeah,
beautiful
I really
butterflies.
like that sequence.
Yeah.
This whole thing's very well animated, but
Mm-hmm.
that stuff especially just looks so good.
Yeah, and like it's a very beautiful moment where she's finally freed from her own purgatory, and Victor and Victoria are free to marry. Victoria's ingrates of parents will, not be in the poorhouse, and Victor's parents will move on up. And anyway, what matters is Victor and Victoria are happy in the end, and that is all that matters. I also forgot to mention a rather hysterical scene in there too, is when they're going on up to go to the wedding. They stop by the house of Victoria's parents.
Oh, when the skeletons are creeping up, that's good. Yeah.
And I do like the pervert skeleton who's like after the plump woman that's at the table. He goes like, ha ha ha. And then at the end, it's almost hinted at because I think he winks at her and she's like, ooh. I just thought it's so funny how he's all flirty and he goes, I like him fiery. And he's just like chasing after her. It's funny. Or like when Victoria's father goes, there's an eye in me soup. And it's because the corpse is like leaning on just the one eye. A lot of funny moments in there. But yeah, like, so what did you guys think of Corpse Bride?
I liked this a lot. I thought it was very charming. I think it could do with like 2 more songs in there.
Okay.
Because like for me, like when it's like 4 songs and something, it's like you're kind of a musical, but like give me just a little more.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like the animation's pretty stunning. I really love the. Again, I'm gonna go back to that Remains of the Day scene, but the lighting there and the shadows and everything, insane. Like stop motion alone is just like a crazy art form. But yeah, I like it. I do think does suffer a little bit in comparison to the other stop motion animated film people associate Tim Burton with.
Yes.
He didn't direct Nightmare Before Christmas.
No, but
that was Henry Selick. He wrote it and was involved. But and so like that's really the other thing where I'm like, the songs aren't like there's no like This Is Halloween. There's no
Yeah. I love The Nightmare Before Christmas. Like This Is Halloween is one of my favorite songs.
It's the opening theme
of that movie. They are, I would say, obviously goes without saying, very distinct works.
Yes, absolutely.
But there are little like nods and like you can see like similarity of design with certain things, and they're both very entertaining films.
Yeah, and both have music by Danny Elfman.
Yeah,
yes.
And Danny Elfman's fantastic. I think Danny Elfman writes a lot of the music for a lot of Tim Burton's films. I think he did even like Scissorhands.
Yeah, no, he's been with him since Batman at the very least. I think he did Pee-wee too.
Oh, okay, yeah. So and you start to recognize his style, like, oh, that's Danny Elfman.
He did Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah. So very entertaining. But what did you think of?
So this isn't the first time I've seen this movie. I saw the movie when it came out in 2005.
I know. I was going to say 2012.
I know.
2005.
2005. In 2005, when I was 15. I had mixed feelings when it came to the movie when I first saw it. Seeing it the second time, I still have mixed feelings about it because, to be perfectly honest, I prefer Nightmare Before Christmas, and that could just because I've been watching the movie since I was 3 years old, and I know every word to every song, and
it's also like the film is better.
I think it's better.
Yeah.
But I love stop motion animation, regardless of what the story is behind it or how the production of the movie. I think stop motion is one of the harder, or at least more time-consuming forms of animation because you have to film, stop, move the sculpture, film again. So I commend anybody who can do stop motion animation. I do like the animation. I like the artistry of it. I like, I guess for lack of a better term, the cinematography in this movie. But all in all, the thing is, like with Johnny Depp voicing Victor, I don't think Johnny Depp is that great of a voice actor. Like his voice just kind of like grated against me, like he did the first time I watched the movie. I much prefer him as like Jack Sparrow.
Well, it definitely. I don't think.
But I think there were much stronger actors voicing this in this movie. And I'm sorry, Lord Barkus has nothing on Oogie Boogie.
No, Oogie Boogie is fantastic. He's in a league of his own.
He is.
Like I love Oogie
But
Boogie.
Yeah.
like, oh, one thing I forgot to mention. This has one of my favorite little animation tropes. Animated Peter Lorre. He's in there as the maggot. Don't you
Really?
love Peter Lorre? Don't you love when they draw him all funny in Looney Tunes cartoons? It's not actually him. He was
Right.
dead at this point. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
his face and his voice.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
Somebody doing an impression. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting. I like that.
Like,
little-
I mean, he's a like in Looney Tunes, the
Yeah.
mad scientist was always like him being like,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, there's a lot of great little characters. Like even I love the Black Widow
Yeah.
spider, who's like the seamstress for everyone there. It's really
Yeah.
like, and she goes like, she's just like, hello, like I'm a widow too, and like,
Yeah.
when Victor like said, she goes, oh, how rude.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think
Yeah,
I
a
think
lot of
what
funny
it,
little moments.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is that I preferred the side characters as opposed to the main characters, and Emily's attitude towards Victor, and not it kind of like, I don't know, it really, like, I'm like, oh, why? No, honey, this is not good behavior. What are you doing? Kind of a thing. And it's not something that I caught when I was 15 years old, but now
Yeah.
35 and grown and lived a little, it's like, oh.
I liked Emily though. I mean, I'm not basing my life decisions off of her.
No.
But I thought she was fun, and
Yeah,
just like
She's a very tragic character.
she is a tragic character.
it's fun to have a painfully naive ghost. You know?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's like-
it is sad. I mean, she has a very tragic backstory, and it's not indicated like how long she's been dead for, like
Yeah.
but the fact when you think about it, that she was like murdered and then just like probably just left there and everything and almost
Yeah.
forgotten. But in the underworld, she's well liked. Like
Yeah.
I think she is treasured by the other inhabitants of the underworld, and she has her own little community.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy this film. I think if I had to make a comparison with The Nightmare Before Christmas, I don't know if there's one that I like over the other. I could say that there are things, for example, like I think the songs in The Nightmare Before Christmas, I think are more fun. Like, I don't know. I think
They're
if
different.
I had to compare, I think I do enjoy the songs on Before Christmas a bit more. Jack Skellington is awesome. I
Yes.
love Jack Skellington as a protagonist. He's deeply flawed,
Yes.
doesn't really listen to
No.
anyone, but he learns in the end.
Sally is great.
Sally's amazing. There's a lot of great characters, and what I
Yeah.
will say is that even if you don't necessarily like the main characters, there are so many interesting side characters with their little stories.
Yeah.
So like the mini Napoleon, the tall guy with the giant
And
pole.
two, remember, this movie is like 75 minutes long.
Yeah.
Like, you're not in for the long haul here.
No.
It's still a really fun space to visit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the widow Gertrude. She's awesome. I love her husband, who's like Rhett Butler-esque.
Yeah.
And when he goes like, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. It's just
Yeah.
so romantic. Because also, you think about it, who wouldn't want to be reunited? I mean, eventually, if you believe in an apple, you are reunited. But think about it, it's like how long they hadn't seen each other.
Yeah.
So it's a nice moment. Even Mayu gets reunited with I think it's the butcher character or something like that. So like everyone is reunited with either friends or loved ones. So it's a cute little moment.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't despise this movie.
No,
But there's bits and pieces of it that I do like about it. But I still think The Nightmare Before Christmas. If I had to choose between the two, I'd pick Nightmare.
Yeah. So, do we want to go for our ratings?
Sure.
All right. So I guess we'll rate it out of
Corpses.
corpses or maybe butterflies. Can we go with butterflies?
We can go with butterflies.
Butterflies.
Okay, so I'm gonna rate it 3.5 butterflies out of 5.
I would give this definitely a 4 out of 5 butterflies for me, because it's a film that I can rewatch constantly, and it's really enjoyable. So I'm going 4 out of 5 butterflies.
Yeah, I'm hitting it with 4 butterflies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Nice.
yeah, so that was our discussion of Corpse Bride, and you can check it out through the Mid-Hudson system. So if you have your library card, check it out. If you don't have your library card, why not? Stop by and apply. And yeah, so this is the second film in our Legends, Myths, and Folklore series. And then the next discussion is
My pick,
which is
the Swan Princess.
yes, another animated classic. So as always, like, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.